So today we're going to talk about the most competitive gamer I ever gamed with in my life by a healthy country Mao on a dinosaur with boosters. I met this guy, let's call him Henning, at a meetup of a friend, let's call him D. Now I didn't game with him, but even through the grapevine, I heard about this guy being abrasive and, well, unfathomably competitive. But my first distinctive memory of him was at Take Gi meetup, which is not around anymore. And I was setting up a game, and in walks D. Alright? And he also setting up a game, and he brings Cold Baron. And I'm like, oh, let me know how it is afterwards. Anyway, I see Henning come in. So we both kind of start at the same time. My final look was I turn around and I see Henning basically sitting here. He's a tall German guy with a ponytail and a Mac PhD. And in front of him were the three other players, and he's just like giving a lecture. That's the last thing I see. Anyway, I turn to my game, I focus on that, and my game finishes about an hour and a half or so later. Anyway, everybody stands up, go to the toilet, same, I look over, and I see that D is alone at his table. I thought the same thing happened. They finished the game. I walk over, and I go to D, and I go, hey, so how's Cold Baron? What do you think? And he looks at me with the most defeated look ever. And he goes, Ben, we haven't even started. And I go, what? Are you kidding? No, you're serious? We were teaching the rules together. And he's like, yeah, I know, we told him just to teach the rules, but he kept explaining everything and every single intricacy because he said that's the way we can play it properly. And I go, oh my word. Anyway, I see Henning come back and I turn to D and I go, good luck. And he goes, I'm gonna need it. And I walk away. Basically, through this experience, I found out something very simple. You kind of exist in Henning's world for his enjoyment, to defeat. Because he doesn't take losing very well. So, the second distinct memory I have today is we're again at the oldest board game meetup in Singapore, right? Again, I'm setting up a game. And then I see D walk in again. And this time beside him is a nice Indian lady. I know her. She's fantastic again. Very fun to game with. And also very, very tolerant. But they come in, and then they start setting up Le Havre. Alright? After a while, Henning walks in. And in case you're asking, why does D keep playing with Henning? Long story short, I can tell you, it's because, like the South Park episode, he's a Mormon, and say what you want, they have weird beliefs, but they're some of the nicest people you ever meet. Anyway, Henning walks in and beside him is this Caucasian lady, and long story short, that will be his girlfriend. So they introduce each other, they start gaming. And again, our games go at the same time, but it's quite noisy there sometimes, and I can hear that mostly it was Henning and his girlfriend just chattering. As people leave throughout the hours, things become more distinct, right? At some point, D has to make a massive choice. And Henning and his girlfriend were going at it like crazy. They would literally like, you don't do this stupid move because if you do this, she's going to win by 28 points. I can calculate it now. What you should do is come here and then it's good for you because here's where you get the most points. Then she'll go like, yes, you might get less points here, but then you're going to give him this many points. And then 2 turns later, you could actually do this to get more points. Both of them were going so hard. And I'm watching the Indian lady and D from the back, and you can see the stiff back and just like the tension. And at this point, my table stopped gaming, and we were just kind of like side-eyeing this table because it was like a car wreck. And it just kept going on, and the voices got quite loud, not shouting, but quite loud. And at some point, you can tell D just gives up on life, and he just goes like, I don't know, guys, I'm just going to make this move, okay? And as he does it, of course, the girlfriend of Henning starts to protest, and Henning physically helps him put his pieces on the board, and then all hell breaks loose. Non-stop. It was this constant fight. And then when they calculate the points, Henning wins, he stands up, big smile. And then the girlfriend just won't stop blaming everybody, scolding people. Again, not shouting, but it was just like constantly like, you know, if he didn't do this and she didn't do this, and then you manipulated it doing this. And Henning doesn't help the situation because he's kind of like snarkily going, ha ha ha, you lose. Anyway, D and the Indian lady say they'll pack up. The two of them stand up, and Henning and his girlfriend walk out. And they're arguing all the way to the door. And I always joke about this. These two must have the best makeup sex. Because literally, every time I see the two of them together, all they do is fight. Anyway, I walk over and I go, are you guys okay? And the two of them were like, oh my God, this is some of the worst experiences they had. In fact, the Indian lady was like, I cannot believe what I just went through. Or something like that. Anyway, those are the first two stories of Henning. Next time, we'll talk about my experiences with him and an RPG story, which, again, no matter what game he plays, he seems to be abrasive. Thank you very much. Till next word.